Welcome everyone to this new video. Dr. C is here, and today I'm bringing you the top 4 deck list from the latest online regional that was celebrated during last Sunday in Europe. This time we had a pretty interesting top 8. We had also new players reaching the highest positions because we have, for example, Joshua Oosters, which was former, well, actually current professional Yu-Gi-Oh player, which made the top 8 with duplicates, so congratulations, Joshua. Next time we have a really variated top 8 dispute with Lilith Monk combo as the winner of the event. Actually, Francis Denton had the win of the tournament. He actually got the third position, I think, in the latest European Evolution Cup with the same deck list, and we will cover that in a few minutes. So let's start with the fourth position, James, with Security Control. Alright, this build is pretty standard for me. It is running the classic 4 Upamon package with 3 Salamons. He's running, this is interesting because he's only running 2 copies of Magnetramon and 2 Luzman. This is awkward in my opinion. Often if we are running 2 copies of Luzman, we are actually running more copies of Magnetramon just to enjoy the when attacking effect. Otherwise, the rest of the list seems pretty standard. 2 copies of Geogreymon and 2 of Cordramon. Cordramon is getting worse and worse as time passes because it can just take out yourself in the mirror match, which is something you should consider to happen. Geogreymon in the other side is pretty consistent against Gabumon Mono Friendship decks and the rest of the aggro decks in general. And we have 3 copies of Craniamon. Musketeer players are becoming better and better just by having answers to this deck, so running more copies of Craniamon makes perfect sense here. Sakuyamon at 4 copies is unnecessarily necessary evil in most cases, but I don't actually have any problem with running this at 4 copies because it is necessary against the Jesmon match and against Gabumon Mono Friendship. We have 1 copy of TK plus 3 copies of Easy and Joe. TK is pretty good, but it could just leave you with 1 card less in the security stack if you don't hit a yellow card. That's why he's running full playset of Holy Wave, and he's running also 4 copies of Sakuyamon, and he's running, actually, let's see the stats, 31 yellow cards. That's the ratio you should be running if you want to use TK properly. Otherwise, if you hit a yellow card, you will just unbrick your hand or whatever you need. You can just fetch a Sakuyamon for free or whatever you need. So 4 copies of Hollyway. This card is great against Gabumon, but pretty bad against Jesmon. That's it. Sadly, this card is so slow. It is also pretty hard to have in your starting hand by giving you nothing. And that's it. He's running also a full playset of key golds from against the aggro decks, as he's not running Ultimate Flare or Iron Punch. This could be appropriated. Actually, I don't like this ratio because this card does absolutely nothing in the security, so you are defenseless against an aggressive Gabumon and stuff like that. James is just covering that scenario with copies of Holy Wave. And this was the 4th place. Let's move to the 3rd place. We have 3 Musketeers, and this deck list is pretty standard too. We have Demi-Meramon plus 3 copies of Hitmon to fill up the graveyard. We have Soundbirdmon to perform the combo, Gazimon, Hitmon, standard, 3 blockers, Deputymon at 3. Deputymon at 3 with Hitmon at 3 is quite a greedy creature, no? Right? It feels like you are filling the grave so much. So this player should have been always in the offensive. So you need to be always attacking. That's something you should consider. One copy of Ogremon as a toolbox. Promote, Finisher, excellent. 2 copies of Rebellimon, another another necessary evil for the format, because Jesmon is so strong and we need some way to deal with it. 2 copies of Craniamon for the mirror match for security control. 3 copies of Gandramon and 4 Belstramons, standard. 1 copy of Millenniumon to get rid of the opposing Craniamons. 2 copies of SWAT, 1 Mat. And in the options we have classic package, 4 copies of Troop Sword. That's interesting because this card is the only option that could remove a bond of friendship. So you should play this card at 4 copies if you expect many Gabumon decks. And then 3 copies of Fly Bullet because it won't actually kill anything. And then Happy Ballet against yeah. One thing you should consider is to play this card just to kill level 7s. This deck cannot kill a level 7 that is suspended. So that's why Transword at 4 could delete an unsuspended one, but Fly Bullet can't. That's why he's running Happy Ballet. 3 copies of Gewalt against the aggro decks, and 3 copies of Nailbone. 3 copies of Nailbone is a pretty intelligent play, because Nailbone is your main win condition most times when the game is just taking so long. You need this card as fast as possible, because you need to get the aggression faster. Also, by playing 3 Immons and 3 Deputymons, you are just self-milling yourself a lot, so you need to reach the Nailbone as fast as possible too. So congratulations to the 3rd place with this cool deck. Now let's move to the 2nd place. We have another security control deck. This time he's running the full 5 Digitamas with 1 copy of Cubimon, 4 Salamons and 2 Bushi Agumons. This has been a deck famous by some Spanish players because they want some way to deal with the late game, and having a rush Digimon is pretty useful in that stage of the game. Next, standard 2 Geo, 2 Cordra, 4 Magnaangemon, 2 Mistymons, and then full playset of Magnadramon and full playset of Sakuyamon. First of all, as we are running 6 rookies, Magnadramon could just cheat out a Bushi Agumon and having an extra attacker. Also 4 copies of Sakuyamon, because we have already explained this movement. This is because of Jesmon. The Jesmon deck is pretty strong against the security control Veils. You should completely run 4 of here. Also against the Gabumon Bond of Friendship deck, this card is insane. And that's why he's running also 2 copies of Mistymon. This card is insane against Gabumon. And 4 copies of Magnaangemon because of the same reason. If we open with a level 5, then we can evolve into a level 6 by 3 memory, which is really nice. It is correct. Next, these ratios are just interesting. 2 copies of Sword Defeat. Actually, Sword Defeat is a pretty weird card, because if you have him in the security, that's insane, that's crazy, oh my god. You feel so good if you reach that position. But most times this card is in your hand, being a brick that you cannot even use. So if you have 5 memory, you could potentially hard play it, but your opponent is aware of that, so you will mostly never be in that situation. Also, as he's not running any level 6 that is black or purple, he can't even evolve into Sword Defeat and use the Tamer Delation effect. That's why I think Sword Defeat, in this particular version, I may have played 2 copies of Chaosmon Balduran, because it has a bigger body and it could potentially delete an opposing bond of friendship or bond of courage that is attacking you if he appears in the security, or even give some life to Magnadramon after you play it, because you could evolve into Chaosmon and delete something. Otherwise, this is really interesting. 2 copies of TK, we have already explained this. We have plenty of yellow cards. We have, let's see, 35, which are close to the former 31. So this time, this player is running 2 copies of TK with the same reasoning. 4 copies of Easy and Joe. This card could be the worst or the best tamer ever created. There are no great colors here. So if this one is working, you get multiple copies of him and you get tons of memory, so you can actually play a different game. That's it. 4 copies of Ultimate Flare against Gabumon, against Yesmon. This card is pretty useful. It's not horrible to draw, and it could potentially kill multiple things. 4 Reinforcing as usual, 4 Weaver's Breath, and 2 Geek-Waltz against Diagro. That's it. Congratulations to Alessio for reaching the 2nd place. And finally, let's check the decklist of the winner of the event, Francis Denton with Lilymon Loop combo. Alright, let's begin with the decklist explanation. This decklist is the same that he played in the latest Evolution Cup. He managed to get the 3rd position in that event, and he said in an article that he hadn't tested at all. This time, well, I hoped everything was different, because he actually won the event with this deck. Actually, I got the opportunity to see some of their games, and he actually he was just making a deck profile to the opponent. So this deck is really hard to play. You need to be really skillful just to don't lose to yourself. This deck has really dangerous moments, especially in the late game when you need to control all the things that you actually do. Otherwise, you could just lose to yourself. And well, the skill is important, also the consistency. This deck is completely based about consistency. We have draw power given by Sunomon. We don't run anymore DGX because Sunomon is the best one, and that's why that's because we run a lot of draw 1, discard 1 effects. We have Labramon, we have Gabumon from the starter deck, we have Lady Devimon, we have a lot of discard effects, and they are more consistent than just attacking and trying to having something dead. Let's say we have Amon from BT1 attacking with the Mimeramon underneath, and he somehow survives the attack. Then we have lose a lot of tempo, and we are just doing nothing. We are just giving an opponent an extra turn to kill us earlier, and that's a situation we don't want to be. That's why he's running a full discard based cards, just like Ginkakumon to get extra memories by discarding. We have Rebellimon to enable more discard outlets and to kill Jesmons. We even have Underworld's Call to discard in order to get an extra draw and improve consistency. Talking about consistency, we are running 3 copies of Arbor Memory Boost, 4 copies of Yard Raid just to see this card as soon as possible, because this one is the only card that we cannot search consistently speaking. We have Takumi just to get some draw power and some defense against the aggression decks. We have 3 copies of Onion Sword and only 4 copies of Lilith, as we don't want to lose by taking the wrong decision. This deck has a really cool curve. If you see the curve, you see that this is pretty straightforward, and that's the situation we want to be in. Also, we're running 1 copy of Immon just in case our Lilymons are in the trash. We can recover them somehow. So congratulations to this winner. And that's it. This was everything for the top 4 decks. I know that there were some interesting deck lists in the top 8, just like the Joshua Oster's duplicate and etc. But I will make another video in the future. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you like my content, and leave your feedback in the comment section, because that could help me a lot to create quality content. So thank you again and goodbye.